Inside the intensive care unit of Vero City's first hospital, I looked at a person covered in tubes lying on a hospital bed. That person turned out to be myself, Vero City's richest man, Ethan. Am I dead? Then how can I still see everything in the real world? Just as I was puzzled, a man and a woman pushed the door open and walked in. The woman was my wife, Chloe, and the man was her first love, Dylan. The door hadn't closed yet when a young man also came in. This is my son, Lucas. The three of them stood by the bedside looking at me, their faces not sad but filled with boundless joy. I glared at the three of them and stepped forward to demand, "Are you this happy that I'm dead?" My body felt light as air. I mustered all my strength to roar in anger, but they couldn't hear a thing. I gave up questioning. With the two realms separated, what meaning does anger have? Just as I was about to drift away, I suddenly heard their conversation. "Ethan, you should have died long ago. You blocked my fate with Dylan. Now that you're dead, it's truly good. Although it's a bit late, I'll use the fortune you spent your life acquiring to compensate Dylan," Chloe said with a face full of resentment. "Mom, he's dead. The three of us can finally be together openly and honestly," Lucas said. It turned out I had worn the green hat my whole life. My son wasn't mine at all. Yes, Ethan, that stumbling block is finally dead. From now on, the three of us will be very happy, Dylan said with a smile. I listened to the three of them in agony, my consciousness blurring with anger until it was completely gone. Look, Ethan is about to confess again. They really splurged this time. 99 roses and that huge stuffed doll. When I regained consciousness, the first thing to reach me was sound. I opened my eyes and saw a group of students in Velo Middle School uniforms gathered around me. Then the slightly rusted Velo Middle School sign and the gate came into view. I stared at everything in disbelief. Wasn't I dead? Then I slapped myself. It hurts, it really hurts. I was reborn to 1 month before the advanced level exams, which was also the 9th time I confessed to the school beauty Chloe. Thinking of everything my soul had seen and heard after death, I rose from the one knee, kneeling position. I casually shoved the rose to the bespectacled girl Zoe at my side and gave the stuffed doll to the long-haired girl next to her. While everyone stood there stunned, I walked into the school without looking back. "Chloe, are you going to accept Ethan's confession later?" Chloe and her desk mate and close friend Zoe walked toward the main gate. Zoe asked as they walked, "How could I possibly accept him? My heart belongs only to Dylan," Chloe said with a frown, looking impatient. "Then why are you stringing him along?" Zoe asked, a little puzzled. "If I don't string him along, how would he fund Dylan and me?" Chloe said as if it were only natural. "Chloe, look, isn't that Ethan? Why isn't he kneeling at the gate anymore? Why is he coming this way?" Just as the two of them were almost at the gate, Zoe saw me and looked utterly incredulous. "He doesn't even have that much patience and still wants to confess to me. Let's ignore him for now. Act like we didn't see him. Leave him hanging. Consider it punishment for disrespecting my feelings." Chloe looked at me, approaching with a face full of disdain. "Won't he get angry and stop talking to you then?" Zoe asked cautiously. "Even if he had 100 guts, when he sees me ignoring him, he'll come running back to beg for my forgiveness," Chloe said confidently, proud and contemptuous. She had barely finished speaking when I walked past the two of them, not even glancing their way. They pretended not to see me as we brushed by. Now that I've been reborn, I certainly won't cling to Chloe anymore. There's definitely hatred, but looking back, wasn't everything in my past life caused by myself? If I hadn't tried to please her, if I hadn't been infatuated, would the tragic outcome have happened? So I do hate her, but more than that, I choose to keep my distance. My heart is guarded now. In this life, I will never love easily again, and I refuse to be a bootlicker. I came into the classroom, picked up the long unopened textbook and put it into my bag, then turned and left. The moment I stepped out of the classroom door, a delicate figure collided into my arms, both painful and limp. "Ah!" In my daze, a frightened, girlish cry sounded at my ear. Then a pair of hands pushed me away, and my arms were suddenly empty. "Are you okay, classmate?" Only then did I notice a girl with glasses and her hair tied up staring at me blankly. "Ethan, weren't you confessing?" How did you end up here? A flicker of surprise passed through her eyes. Then a rapid-fire stream of questions followed. Sophia? A person surfaced in my mind, the blurry figure gradually coming into focus, and the name slipped out before I could stop it. What? 3 years in the same class, and you don't recognize me? Sophia's clear eyes sparkled behind her black-rimmed glasses. Then she said plaintively, "Yeah, how can I not know you? You're the model student of our whole school. I should really learn from you." I remembered that in my previous life, Sophia had been admitted to an Ivy League university with the top score in the city, and I couldn't help but feel respect for the strong. At that time, I had been trying so hard to please Chloe that my studies fell apart. I couldn't get into university, went home to take over the family business, and continued to be infatuated with Chloe until the end of my last life. You're exaggerating. You haven't even answered the question I asked earlier. Sophia sounded a little embarrassed when she heard my admiration and looked at me expectantly for me to follow up. As for confessing, I won't do it anymore. I've had an awakening. She doesn't like me, let alone love me. Even if I confessed 1,000 more times, she wouldn't agree. Instead of wasting time, I might as well study properly and aim for university. I don't know why I explained so much. Perhaps I wasn't just speaking to Sophia, but to the part of myself that once behaved like a simp. Really? That's great. Sophia felt a small, inexplicable thrill. You're happy because I get rejected and people don't like me? I pretended to look displeased at her. No, I didn't mean that. I'm leaving now, Sophia explained, a little flustered, and hurried into the classroom beside me. I don't know what she grabbed, but like a gust of wind, she quickly passed by and headed out of the school. I watched the frail figure walking away, smiled wryly, shook my head, and headed toward the school gate. Just as I reached the gate, I saw 3 people, 2 women and a man, standing there, seemingly waiting for me. I ignored them and walked in the direction of home. I needed to find somewhere to grab a bite before going back. My parents live in a villa district, which I find too far from school. Actually, it used to be too far from Chloe. So, I had my parents buy an apartment for me near the school. It's only a kilometer from the campus, and just 300 meters from the place where Chloe rents. Ethan, what do you mean? How could you give Chloe's flowers and the doll to someone else? You better give Chloe a reasonable explanation, or don't expect her forgiveness. Just as I was about to walk past Chloe, Zoe, and Dylan, Zoe's shrill voice suddenly came. I froze for only a second, didn't turn my head, and kept walking. Ethan, did Chloe tell you to leave? Stop. Seeing I didn't respond, Dylan quickly stepped in front of me and scolded. A good dog doesn't block the way. I sneered at Dylan with a look that treated him like swine and dogs. Ethan, who's the dog? Apologize to Dylan right now, or don't expect me to forgive you, and don't think I'll say a single word to you ever again. Chloe's hair immediately stood on end at my words. She shouted loudly, drawing strange looks from the passers-by. Apologize? Huh, you deserve that? Chloe, remember what you said today. From now on, we'll each go our own way. Don't bother me. I looked mockingly at the 3 in front of me and said softly, You? Ethan, how dare you? No matter what you give me in the future, don't expect me to pay any attention to you. Chloe, frantic, snapped. Do you have something in your ears? I already said we won't bother each other. I won't pester you. And I certainly won't give you anything. I looked at the furious Chloe and said seriously, Ethan, do you think you're playing hard to get tactic can fool Chloe? Hurry up and apologize to Chloe, and I'll make her forgive you. Dylan said disgustedly, sneaking a look at Chloe. Exactly. As long as you apologize, I'll forgive you. Chloe followed Dylan's cue, her tone softening, looking wronged. No need. Goodbye, I said, and started to leave. Seeing that I wouldn't back down and was like a different person from usual, Chloe panicked, and Dylan even more so, stepping in front of me. Ethan, don't think about leaving without apologizing. Dylan blocked me from moving. Smack! I slapped him across the face. His small frame went down to the ground, clutching his face in disbelief. Ethan! Ethan! Zoe and Chloe shouted loudly when they saw Dylan hit. Zoe even hurried ahead of Chloe to help him. Loser! I spat those 2 words, ignored the shouts behind me, and walked away. Dylan, are you okay? Don't worry. If Ethan doesn't buy you a phone to apologize, I won't let him off. Chloe came up to Dylan, checking the handprint on his face, her teeth clenched in anguish. Exactly. We can't let this simp get away with it. Zoe looked at Dylan with sympathy and said angrily, Dylan is Chloe's first love, and also Zoe's beloved. I'm Fina. Ethan wasn't like this before. How could he dare? Dylan said, face full of confusion and anger. Chloe, did you reject him so many times that he stopped chasing you? Zoe's eyes flashed with a hint of resentment, aimed at both Ethan and Chloe. No, you wait and see. It won't be long before he comes crawling back to apologize, Chloe said, flustered for a moment, then brimming with confidence. Chloe, make sure he buys you the newest phone when that happens. If he doesn't, don't forgive him, put him in his place, Dylan said harshly, a triumphant smile crossing his face. Dylan's family was ordinary, but he always wanted what others had. Recently, he saw classmates with new phones and came to bother Chloe. Chloe was poorer than he was. Luckily, she had Ethan, that rich second-generation simp. Through Chloe, he had already gotten a lot from Ethan. Not knowing the little schemes of Chloe and the others, I went straight to a restaurant I often visited, ordered my favorite dishes and staples, and found a seat. Seeing the restaurant full of customers, I remembered how Chloe once said she liked this place's creamy mushroom pasta and that I would always order it for her whenever we came. But I didn't expect that she always packed it to take away. Later, I found out it was because Dylan liked it. At the time, Chloe told me, "Why are you so stingy? It's just some food. Can't you be nicer to Dylan? He grew up with me. And if you fuss over something like this, how can I be at ease being with you?" Looking back now, it's truly laughable. Laughing at myself for having been nothing but a total simp back then. Excuse me, is the seat taken? May I sit here? Just as I was spacing out, reminiscing about those simping behaviors, a long-haired, big-eyed girl stood in front of my desk and asked, radiating a sunny, youthful, and beautiful aura. No, go ahead. I looked at the girl. She seemed familiar, but I couldn't recall where I'd seen her. Thank you, she said and sat opposite me, then looked at me with an amused expression that made me feel completely awkward. Classmate, do we know each other? I asked cautiously, looking at her with some puzzlement. Ethan, are you playing dumb? We just saw each other at the classroom door not long ago. The girl looked at me as if I were stupid. Sophia? The top student. I looked at her skeptically. She did look a bit like her, so I confirmed. What top student? I'm just a little better at studying. Sophia, amused by my doubtful expression, smiled playfully. Sorry, I didn't recognize you. This meal's on me. Order whatever you want. I smiled sheepishly. You promised no backing out. Sophia said with a squinting smile. I'm not backing out. It's just that your transformation is so extreme. If our classmates saw you now, I doubt many would recognize you. I assured her, while also defending myself. After all, she used to wear black-rimmed glasses and the school uniform every day. She was delicate but hardly beautiful. Who would have thought she could become this stunning? Even if Chloe was once called the school beauty, she would fall a bit short next to the current Sophia. You're exaggerating. You only ever had eyes for the school beauty before. Sophia said, a brief shadow crossing her eyes before the sunshine returned. Campus bell? Hell, what are you eating? Hurry up. This one and this one. Sophia ordered 2 vegetable dishes, the cheapest kind. I glanced at her, took the menu, and added an order of grilled ribs and a pan-seared salmon, telling the waiter to prepare them. Ordering so much is such a waste. Sophia looked at the 2 heavy dishes I had added and said, a little ruefully, inviting you to a meal. How can we only have vegetables? You look so thin, I said with a smile, silently adding in my heart. Not all of it is thin. Although the restaurant was crowded, the chefs worked quickly, and before long the dishes we ordered were all served. Ethan, were you planning to apply for college? Sophia shifted the topic quickly, but her expression remained natural. Ivy League schools, North University, either would do, huh? I said something I didn't even believe myself and laughed. How about I tutor you? Do you want to study? Do you want to go to university? Sophia's eyes held hope, perhaps afraid of hurting my pride. After all, with my bottom-of-the-class grades, Getting into university in a month is no easy feat, let alone a prestigious one. Of course I want to go to university, but my foundation is too weak. I can't catch up. I refused with a bitter smile, afraid of wasting her time. Actually, my fundamentals had always been decent. After being reborn, the knowledge in books became incredibly unfamiliar, decades of time having faded the points of memory. As long as you're willing to study, I promise to make up for the education you've neglected, Sophia said confidently. Okay, provided it won't interfere with your studies. I looked at the confident, sunny girl in front of me and couldn't help but be affected. Decades of wear and tear had long since aged my heart. But since meeting Sophia twice, that young heart seemed to be returning, and a youthful drive to struggle was slowly reviving. Then let's start tomorrow. In a classroom or at home? In a classroom. Noon or evening is fine. All right, it's settled then. I'm full. I'll be going first. Thanks for the hospitality. After confirming the makeup lesson time, Sophia stood up and said, "What would you like to eat? I'll treat you next time." Perhaps it was the consequence of age and experience. Looking at Sophia, I couldn't help but show a bit of indulgence. Not the kind reserved for a lover, but more like the care given to a younger person. "I'll treat you next time. Goodbye." I watched her youthful figure walk away, my heart full of joy. Maybe it was simply because I had saved someone who had once been a terrible student. I paid the bill and returned to my single apartment, tidied up briefly, laid out my books and study materials on the desk one by one, and began to review. Perhaps it was a perk of being reborn, or maybe the richness of life experience had sharpened my comprehension. As I looked at those concepts, I could grasp them quickly. A surge of joy rose in my chest. Ivy League, North University. Maybe they're not out of reach after all. On a whim, I kept flipping through textbook after textbook until my eyes could no longer stay open, and I fell asleep with my head on the desk. My biological clock was punctual. I woke at 6:30. My arms and neck were a bit sore, but after standing and stretching I felt much better, and I couldn't help but think, being young is wonderful. After washing up, I went out to the usual breakfast shop. After one meal, my whole body felt relaxed. I packed another portion and carried it toward the school. Chloe was sitting in her seat when she saw me come in. Her eyes immediately fell on the breakfast in my hand, wearing an expression of knowing. But I walked past her without stopping and went straight to my seat. She suddenly turned her head and grabbed my arm. "Are you sick?" I looked at her hand with disgust and pulled away. "Give me breakfast. I haven't eaten yet." "Why should I care that you haven't eaten? If you want it, go by your own." Saying that, I walked off without looking back. Staring at my retreating figure, Chloe was stunned and couldn't help but wonder, is this an attitude of admitting fault? I handed my breakfast to my deskmate Jake, a master of the arcade, when I reached my seat. Under his panda eyes rimmed with bloodshot veins, I did something out of character. I took out a book and started studying seriously. Before long, homeroom teacher Mr. Carter came in and announced a major decision. "Class, we're now in the final stretch. To review more effectively, we're going to rearrange seats so higher-performing students can help those who are falling behind. My advice to those with poor grades: if you really don't want to study, opt out of this placement. Don't hold back good students." Jake and I didn't even get a chance to give up. We were left where we were. Mr. Carter's meaning was obvious. Don't let these two poor students go ruin others. They're beyond saving. I was about to stand up and protest when Jake suddenly jumped up. "Mr. Carter, I want to improve too." I stared at him in astonishment. Since when did the arcade master want to study? "Teacher, I want to improve too." I stood up, unwilling to be outdone. "Ethan, Jake, you too. The teacher thinks what you're doing now is fine. Just help each other." Mr. Carter looked at us with a pained expression and said earnestly, "Teacher, just let Ethan and me sit together." Just as Jake and I were about to argue, Sophia's voice rang out. She was still wearing black-rimmed glasses and her school uniform, a world away from the person she'd been after school yesterday. "Sophia, you're the best student in our school. The teacher wants you to keep up the good work. I've already decided to help classmate Ethan. Explaining problems to him will help me master the material more thoroughly. It's a win-win, isn't it?" "Ethan, what do you mean?" Mr. Carter, seeing Sophia's firm stance, turned to look at me, his gaze warning. I thought for a moment. My comprehension is strong now, but there's only a month left until the exam, and my review of the topics is still messy. If I have top student Sophia helping me every day, available to ask questions, a month is enough time for me to raise my grades. I want to learn from classmate Sophia. Over the next month, I will work hard to improve myself and repay my teachers, school, and those who helped me with the best results. I said firmly, Ethan, you're just a poor student. You didn't come here to study at all. Leo Martinez, a boy in class who silently liked Chloe, was the first to jump in. Ethan, are you trying to piss someone off? Why go and mess with a top student? This was Chloe's jealous rival sneering. Ethan, you don't have to do this. With your grades, you have no hope of getting into university. Don't let a fit of temper ruin Sophia's chances. Chloe said pointedly. Voices of agreement and denunciation rose one after another until Mr. Carter shouted for silence, and the classroom finally quieted. Sophia, are you still insisting? Mr. Carter made a final effort. I will improve together with Ethan. Please rest assured, teachers and classmates, and please believe in Ethan. He will definitely make everyone see him in a new light. Sophia spoke the words that shook the whole room in a gentle voice. They were also the strongest support and faith in me. Hearing her, I looked at the girl seriously for the first time. The sense of weariness in my heart completely dissipated, and youth finally returned. Hello, everyone. My name is Ethan. A string of question marks hovered over the classroom. I know you all know the former Ethan, but I want you to get to know the present and future me. Regarding what happened before today, I solemnly declare here, I will no longer pester anyone. I understand now that it wasn't love, just the confusion of youthful ignorance. I have decided to say goodbye to my former self. Chloe looked at me, her gaze like watching clouds drift away. Perhaps she was happy inside, but her feelings no longer had anything to do with me, and everything about her was no longer mine. For the time to come, I will focus on my studies. Don't laugh at me. I want to aim for a top university. It may sound ridiculous, but I want to be reborn. True rebirth is a youth without regrets. I want to thank two people here. The first is the person who rejected me again and again. It was her refusals that finally made me see what I truly needed, which is a youth without regrets. The second person I want to thank is classmate Sophia. She gave me the possibility of a youth without regrets. Whether I can get into university or into the ideal top school, I have no complaints and no regrets. Youth is the most beautiful time in life. Youth is the process of striving. May we all have a youth without regrets. Let's encourage one another. Sorry to have taken up your time. To be in the same class with all of you, I, Ethan, have no complaints and no regrets, and feel incredibly honored. Thank you, everyone. When he finished speaking, the classroom fell silent. Then the atmosphere slowly warmed and finally erupted into enthusiastic applause and excited shouts. So this is what rebirth really is, not just my own rebirth. The lively mood lasted a long time, and Mr. Carter did not stop this youthful celebration. I sat down next to Sophia. Her face was as red as an apple, a shining apple. In the days that followed, everyone threw themselves wholeheartedly into their studies. There was less restlessness and more steady, youthful striving. During a break, Sophia looked at me as if seeing me anew, staring for a long moment before smiling and saying, "You've changed. No regrets in youth? From now on, I'll help you achieve a youth without regrets." After she said that, her face flushed again, and she stood up and ran out of the classroom. I watched a retreating figure and couldn't help but feel. Youth is truly wonderful. Sophia is truly a top student. Her study methods and thinking are indeed impressive, and I benefited greatly. My grades improved very quickly. There were 3 days left until the advanced level exam. The last quiz was conducted privately between Sophia and me. We graded each other's papers. Sophia's answers matched the standard answers almost exactly. After I finished grading her paper and saw the score of 723, only one thought crossed my mind. She has always been this excellent. As for my paper, Sophia graded it very quickly as well. I didn't wait for the score. Instead, I received her joyful smile and a sudden hug. She hugged me. I was about to pull away when she whispered in my ear, "Congratulations, you did it, 712 points." Hearing the score, I couldn't contain the joy inside me. Just as Sophia was about to let go, I held her tightly. She struggled but couldn't break free, and her arms wrapped around me again. I don't know how long I held her. I heard her say in my ear, "You're holding me too tight. I can barely breathe." I loosened my grip, and she stepped back out of my arms. "Sorry, I got too excited," I said, looking at Sophia, whose face was flushed. "Me too. Starting tomorrow, you probably won't need me to tutor you anymore, right? There's still 3 days left. Aren't you going to take responsibility until the end? All right then, I'll give you 2 more days and use the last day to prepare and adjust your state. How about that?" "Okay." Sophia felt a weight lift in her chest, and a sweet smile appeared on her face. "Ethan, what are your plans after the exam?" Sophia asked me expectantly. "Have fun. Enjoy yourself for a few days." "What about you?" "I want to have fun too. How about we go out together?" "Sure, I'll call you then." I looked at Sophia, and my heart stirred. That was the purest, most natural flutter of youth. 3 days later, the advanced level exams officially began and lasted for 2 consecutive days. After finishing the final exam and walking out of the exam hall, I saw the figure that had been lingering in my mind for the past 2 days. "Long time no see," I said as I looked at her. "There's no long time no see. You just like to be cheeky," Sophia said happily with a smile. "I'll come find you tomorrow. Let's go to the amusement park together." "Really? Then tomorrow I'm going to go through the whole amusement park." "Okay, I'll do whatever you want. Then will you walk me back?" Sophia ignored the middle-aged couple waving at her from short distance and asked with a smile in her eyes, "Aren't those your uncle and aunt? You go to them. I'll pick you up tomorrow." She glanced at me with some disappointment. I was about to change my mind when the middle-aged couple walked over. "Hello, Uncle, Aunt," I greeted with a smile. "Hello, you must be Ethan, right? Good young man," Sophia's father, Daniel, said to me with a smile. "I'm Ethan. I've been indebted to Sophia for tutoring me recently. I was thinking of taking her out for a day tomorrow, and we were discussing where to go." "Oh, have you two come to an agreement?" Daniel asked. "Ethan, you should go home first." Sophia, seeing the gossiping gleam in her parents' eyes, felt a little embarrassed, shot me a look, and said, "Okay, Uncle and Aunt, goodbye. Goodbye, goodbye." After saying goodbye, I waved to Sophia, turned away from the exam hall entrance, and headed home. My parents had planned to pick me up, but I refused. I wanted to surprise them. I just didn't notice a couple in the corner watching me and also sizing up Sophia. The day after the exam, after I had tidied up, I left the house. Chloe, the person who had almost faded from my memory, suddenly appeared at the community gate and blocked my way. I looked at her in puzzlement, not knowing what she intended. "Ethan, are you free today? Zoe and Dylan are going out to play. Would you like to join?" Chloe, without her former pride and aloofness, asked me cautiously. "Sorry, I don't have time, and besides, we're not close." I looked at the cold-blooded woman who once ruined my family. Memories from my past life surged up. Some wounds are ultimately hard to forget. "Ethan, you've really changed. You've become someone I don't even recognize." "I haven't changed. I just woke up." Hearing her slightly aggrieved voice, my heart grew another degree colder. "Are you saying all your past efforts should just be wiped away?" "It was merely misplaced, not something you can really assess that way. What I can't understand is, what's your purpose in coming today? No one's trying to flatter you. Feeling out of place?" "No, I didn't. I rejected you before because I didn't want to be distracted at a crucial time for exams." I already said that day. No regrets. I have no regrets about having pursued you, and I have even fewer regrets about giving up pursuing you. You really don't regret it? But I do. Chloe, remember when I said, youth without regrets? There's no need to say such tedious things again. Youth is so short. I've already missed so much and don't want to keep missing out. Goodbye. After saying that, I strode away. When I arrived at the neighborhood where Sophia lived, I saw her standing there charmingly, her long hair fluttering in the wind. She didn't need a spotlight. She was the brightest light in my heart. "You came, let's go." Sophia stepped forward graciously. "You're very beautiful today." I stood where I was, staring at her. "Always so cheeky. Hurry up and let's go." Sophia paused for a moment when she heard my praise, shot me a look, and then walked quickly out of the residential complex, her steps light. We left the complex and took a taxi to the amusement park. Although there are a few cars at home, I'm not yet 18 and don't have a driver's license. Following the principle of safety first, I firmly resist driving without a license. "Ethan, I want to ride this." At the amusement park, Sophia stood in front of the carousel and refused to move. "Play." We bought tickets and went in, each choosing a carousel horse. When the horse began to spin, I saw her on the horse ahead of me, as happy as a child, and I found myself laughing too. After that, we rode the little train, bumper cars, roller coaster, bungee, almost ran through the whole amusement park. I can't remember how long it had been since I felt so relaxed, so happy. When we got off the last ride, the Ferris wheel, and looked at a slightly dizzy Sophia, I took her hand. She simply looked at me once with eyes that smiled with love and let me hold her hand. Her soft little hand conveyed our shared warmth. We didn't take a taxi. Just holding hands, we walked toward her home in silence. "I'm tired. I can't walk anymore." Sophia was the first to break the silence. I didn't speak, let go of her hand, and crouched down in front of her. After waiting a long time with no movement, I turned my head and saw her cheeks flushed, smiling as she stared at me. "If I ask you to carry me on your back, then what are we now?" "Whatever you say we are, that's what we are," I said with a foolish smile. "You're such a scoundrel." After Sophia said that, she paused for a few seconds, then lay back down on my back, her arms wrapped tightly around my neck. In that moment, I felt no fatigue at all, only complete sweetness. "Sophia, what do you think we look like right now?" "You look like Zhu Beiji, huh?" Zhu Beiji wasn't bad either. Zhu Beiji carried his wife home on his back. "Fool." Sophia tightened the arm around my neck. "So this is what being in love feels like. So this is what being in love feels like." "Ethan, I'm going back to my hometown with my parents tomorrow. I probably won't be back until before university registration." At the entrance of the Sophia complex, she said this a little reluctantly. I instinctively tightened my grip on the hand I was holding. After carrying her for a while, she started insisting on getting down. So we held hands and slowly walked back to the complex entrance. "Where's your hometown? I can come see you." "You're going to visit me. How will you explain it to my parents?" "Explain what?" "Just say I'm your classmate, here to hang out." "Classmate? Do I only have you as a classmate?" "I'm not talking to you. I'm going home." Of course I wouldn't let her leave angry. Not only did I not let go, I pulled her into my arms harder, hugged her tightly, and whispered in her ear, "I'm your classmate, and I'm also your boyfriend. Is that reason enough?" "Not enough. Let go of me. I'm going back." "Still not enough? Then I'll just have to marry you." "Is that enough?" "I would never marry you," she said as she broke free from my embrace and ran toward the residential complex. She had only run a few steps when she turned back to look at me, standing frozen in place, and smiled. "I'll come back to see you in a couple of days." After saying that, she ran back home. I returned home and replayed everything that had happened today, as if I were dreaming. Thinking that Sophia would return to her hometown tomorrow and I wouldn't see her for a while, my heart felt empty. While Sophia was back in her hometown, I returned to my real home. I told my parents about the exam, but Mom didn't care about my grades at all. Instead, she kept asking who that girl with black-rimmed glasses and braids was. Of course, I didn't tell the truth, only saying she was an ordinary classmate. I also told my parents about Chloe. When they heard I was no longer pursuing her, they both breathed a sigh of relief, exchanged a knowing smile, and understood. I stayed home with my parents for 2 days. Early on the third day, after packing my things, I had my father's driver take me to Sophia's complex. When we reached the gate, I told the driver to go. Looking at the gray, overcast sky, I had no idea when that girl would return. "Ethan, why didn't you call me? Are you standing here waiting like an idiot?" After who knows how long, the voice I had been longing for day and night over the past 2 days sounded behind me. When did you come back? Do you know? I was about to say, do you know how much I missed you when I saw a figure retreating into the neighborhood behind her, and the words died on my lips. What do you mean no? I came back yesterday. I was actually planning to come find you. Sophia said happily. I missed you so much. Watching the person behind her leave, I walked up to her, unable to control myself any longer, hugged her tightly, and whispered in her ear. I missed you too, so I came back early with my mom. Are you going back then? No, let my mom go back to look after my dad. I'll stay here and look after you. In the days that followed, Sophia and I spent every day together. The acceptance letters arrived. Both of us were admitted to Ivy League schools. From then on, we were inseparable. After graduating from college, we got married and had children. For the rest of our lives, we cherished and supported one another. In this life, I finally understood that only mutual devotion is true love.